Listener discretion advised. Fuck it, free speech, motherfucker!
Podcast presents information based on theory and conjecture. Critter's purpose is to suggest some possible explanation, but not necessarily the only ones to the mysteries we will examine. Remember, everything that you hear from this podcast comes from sources on the internet, and remember, if it's on the internet, it should be taken with a grain of salt and judge it by your own discretion.
Something wrong with the world, the perception led you to research and ask questions, and those questions led you to answers which led you here, to this small pocket dimension in the dark corner of the multiverse. Welcome to the Of Dark Matters podcast, where we discuss topics of the occult, conspiracy, paranormal, and world news. And now, your hosts, MoJoE the Mad and Dr. Clutch.
Good afternoon and good evening. Good afternoon and good evening, or perhaps that is merely what this particular reality has agreed to call it. Somewhere beyond the city lights and comfort of official explanations, there exists a small live studio hidden in a pocket dimension and a dark corner of the multiverse where unanswered questions drift through the air like cigarette smoke, and every broadcast begins with a simple assumption. What if the world is stranger than we're being told? You did the research, you saw the signs, you watched the stars and planets align in patterns that seemed less like astronomy and more like a message. You followed loose threads through government reports, ancient texts, late-night radio broadcasts, and headlines so absurd they seem to have escaped from a fever dream. And now you've arrived. Tonight's transmission comes from a world where every scream screams urgency. A coalition forms on one side of the planet. A missing scientist suddenly reappears. A distant nation becomes the center of a geopolitical storm. Artificial intelligence promises salvation while crowds gather outside data centers in protest. An outbreak emerges somewhere far away, and before sunset, someone has already declared the end of civilization. Experts warn of weapons that may or may not exist. Politicians address microphones with grave expressions. Markets tremble. Commentators shout, and somewhere in the middle of the noise, a story so ridiculous it sounds impossible is quietly dismissed, not because it is false, but because nobody would believe it anyway. This is the age of information, an age in which humanity possesses the sum of human knowledge and in its pocket, and somehow remains more confused than ever. An age where conspiracy and reality pass each other in the hallway so often that neither remembers which is which. So tonight we venture once more into the shadows, into the world of the paranormal, the occult, the unexplained, the hidden machinery turning behind world events. Perhaps we'll find answers, perhaps we'll discover only deeper questions. Because here in this forgotten broadcasting station at the edge of consensus reality, certainty is a rare commodity, but curiosity is always welcome. Always welcome. You're listening to the Of Dark Matters podcast. And for the next hour or 2 hours, the only thing more dangerous than what you hear may be what you begin to suspect.
Welcome to the Of Dark Matters podcast. I am MoJoE the Mad, and we are going to have quite a show for you today. I am joined here by everybody here. We got South Ozman. We got Henry Pierce, and of course my co-host. Get at me, girl.
Get at you.
Yes, Dr. Clutch. Yes.
Demon lover.
Indeed, indeed.
Yeah.
So we got quite a show for you tonight. We've got U.S.-Israel coalition. We are one missing science woman found. Romania targeted AI data center protests. Oh my God, is there an Ebola outbreak in Africa again? We're all gonna die.
Yeah,
and does Iran have nuclear weapons? And more, much, much more. We're gonna be able to get into some really interesting topics. But before we do, why don't we go into a little bit of how was your week? Yes, and right now, How Was Your Week is basically a little segment we do where we recap from the last time we were on the air to this current time right now. And without further ado, let's give it away to Dr. Clutch. How was your week?
Pretty good. Pretty good. I went to a metal show on Thursday night, and I don't like going to shows on Thursday nights because I water ski on Friday mornings, but so I didn't get very good sleep before water skiing, but it was okay because water skiing was bitching as hell the next morning. Things are really coming together on that front. But I saw a band from Moldova called Infected Rain, and the opening band was a band called Stitched Up Heart. And part of the reason I went to see those bands is because cute girls are in those bands, and cute girls in metal bands. So they were cutie patooties and aggressive at that. Especially Infected Rain. The chick was a screamer and a singer, but mostly very good at screaming loudly into a microphone. It was pretty awesome. And they were not Japanese. That's probably your first question. Were they Japanese, Dr. Clutch? No, they were not Japanese. It was white girls doing the metal thing. It was very good.
All right. So, Henry Pierce, how was your week, sir?
Well, I continue to compete with other human beings on the planet Earth, and they're offering a lot of resistance, I have to admit. And I am holding my own, and I thank you for asking me, and I hope you come out to the farm one day and sit by the creek and we can talk about some of the important aspects of life.
I would love that very much. We've been talking about going to the farm. I'd love to come out and check it out. And I love hard work, so let's get my farm hands going. South Ozman, how was your week, sir?
Yeah, not too bad. Apart from I had a metre square sunlight in the kitchen area completely rip off due to torrential rain and winds. 100-kilometre gust of winds, and next thing you know, I'm looking up at a torrential rain pissing down into my little abode. So luckily I managed to somehow secure an old solar panel I had over the hole-ish, so to speak, a bit of plastic and some towels, and away I went back to normal. Apart from that, my week's been great.
All right, well, it sounds like we've had a good week. I'm going to tell you about my week. I've been working hard. I've had a lot of two-man installs. We were putting up TVs, 98-inch TVs on like multiple islands in Best Buys. I've been working hard at trying to get guests for the show, and I just wanted to say we are now back on Facebook. Yes.
Ooh.
The crowd loves that. Yes, they love that one.
Yeah.
That's our studio audience, of course. Nice to see you here again, Yoda. The force be with you. So we're booked up all the way into August, and then I was able to move this show, which was supposed to be at the end of July or July 11th, last minute because we got ghosted by the ghost theorist. Yes,
Oh.
He went down to Nashville to play the ghost banjo. Yes.
The ghost banjo.
Yes, the ghost banjo.
It's something a
which would
ghost
have
theorist
motion
would be good at.
They would be really good at it. Yeah, I said, everyone gets 3 strikes, my friend. And you just had one.
Aww.
So last minute, I was able to put this together, and I'm calling, and I'm bugging the crap out of South Ozman and Henry. We need to change the date. We need to change the date. And sure enough, I was able to get it going on, and we've been showing Henry the new digs here. And of course, South Ozman has been here before. He's a reoccurring guest host. But also from our Podbeam years. Yes, we all were on Podbeam at one point.
Good old Podbeam.
It's no longer there for us, but we're here now. And hopefully in the future, maybe South Ozman will join the Podbeam team and
The StreamYard team.
The StreamYard team, sorry. The StreamYard team. I'm forgetting where I'm at. I'm still thinking we're on Podbeam, but we're not.
No.
So without further ado, we're going to go into a little bit of weird news, world news, and here we go.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of
Weird News!
World News.
This segment is here for those who are listening in for the first time or listening in later on. That this segment is where we take stuff from the headlines that seem to stand out amongst others, and we discuss them here. And with the sea of different people coming on our show for interviews, we've kind of put that on the back burner. But when we get a chance to do so, we have some guest co-hosts. We'll bring it on. So without further ado, I'm gonna let Dr. Clutch take it away.
All right. So we had a bunch of stuff we were going to go over, but I at the last minute before our show started, I found an article I just couldn't resist from RT.com, and I think you'll understand why it must be presented here. It says to do with a 5,300-year-old mummy from the Copper Age, which was found in the Italian Alps in 1991. And next time you go to Jack in the Box and get the sourdough Jack, think of this. Scientists have baked sourdough bread using an ancient yeast harvested from a 5,300-year-old mummy. The mummy's insides and skin, according to URAC Research. The Italian-based research center reported on Wednesday that the scientists discovered several strains of cold-resistant yeast from the Copper Age mummy. The mummy is nicknamed Ozzy the Iceman. Scientists examined the microorganisms found in Ozzy's skin and his digestive tract and in meltwater from inside the mummy. And so they say they've concluded, or they've conducted initial, though not yet systemic, experiments with good results. Don't know what they mean by good results. They said they tried to make a sourdough starter with it, and they made some really good dough with it. So after 2 weeks of being fed flour, the yeast strain adapted to a dough environment. As Ozzy was preserved around 21.2 degrees Fahrenheit, the yeasts, they say, are remarkable because they are adapted to very cold temperatures. So the newly discovered strains could offer advantages for the modern food industry, allowing fermentation at refrigerator temperatures during transportation and saving energy. So this mummy's going to show us how to save energy. So the study found that the mummy's microbiome contains several layers of microbial life, including traces from his lifetime, organisms that colonize the body after death in the glacier, and modern microbes introduced during decades of handling and preservation. So for those of you that believe in life after death, here's just another take on it. You could become sourdough bread in your future. Yeah. You could be served at Jack in the Box as the sourdough Jack. Yes. So I couldn't resist this story. Couldn't resist. Thoughts, anybody? Reactions, anybody?
Where do I get the recipe?
What's that?
Where do I get the recipe for the sourdough bread?
I guess, it's probably Italian, so because he's found in Italy. I would contact URAC Research. So URAC Research, let's see if they have a website here. Because that is a good question. So I'm sure a lot of the chefs in our audience want to. So urac.edu is the website.
I'd like to do a cooking show myself. I have a yen for a cooking show.
Yeah.
Well, we could scrape up the best yeast from a caveman's nutsack for you. Yes, indeed. Yes. God, like that.
Good times. Good times.
I think the show got canceled.
Nah.
We're on it. We're back on Facebook. Of course, it didn't get canceled.
Well, this is the opening track for our Facebook debut. Yes.
Yes.
So
I'm praying for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what to think about this. This seems like it's like the next step is going to be why not have beef jerky that's made out of human meat? You know, I mean, they don't like that one. Why would they? That's weird.
It would be pretty tough if it's like 5,000 years old, though. Like if it's like mummified human meat. Like if you really like your beef jerky, like you like your shoe leather, you want it
with extra yeast.
Extra yeast, yes.
South Ozman, what do you think about this? I want to hear what South Ozman thinks about this.
The mother's face when she gives a bit of toast to the child, and she goes, "This is yummy, mummy." And she goes, "Oh, you better believe it. You better believe it is."
Bitch. Yeah.
Yummy, mummy.
Yeah.
Ever think about that one, Mr. Batman? Huh?
Yes. Well, we have thought of it. Yes. Somebody's thinking about it.
Yeah.
You know, that was probably a recurring line when they were making that. They're just like, dude, we could make bread. Did you ever think about that one? Fucking Batman.
Ever think about
sourdough
that one,
bread,
Mr. Batman? Huh?
Yeah. But that was like the theme over at the URAC Research Center. Yes.
Yes.
Thinking about that one, Mr. Batman. Good times. So in the rumor mill, you might have heard this a few different times. Like I've seen this floating around on X.com from such channels such as like the Alex Jones show, like, and their guest host type peoples. But have you heard of the Israeli military and U.S. military sort of merging into a single army or something? Have you?
It was a proposed bill. It hasn't been passed yet.
It was a proposed bill?
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically it's a people are reacting to here is a legislative proposal in Congress that would expand U.S.-Israel defense cooperation. This proposal is referred to as the United States-Israel Defense Technology Cooperation Initiative, as if they're not already cooperating already. So it's being debated as part of the National Defense Authorization Act. Critics describe it as military integration or even a merger, while supporters describe it as a deeper defense cooperation. The proposal includes things like joint weapons research and development, co-production of military technology, shared defense industrial projects, cooperation in AI, cyber warfare, autonomous systems, lasers, drones, the Old Testament, and other advanced technologies, greater interoperability and data sharing between the two militaries. That's where the headlines about the merging militaries come from. So some people say this could create an unprecedented level of MIC, military-industrial complex integration between the two countries. Some opponents claim it would bind the U.S. policy too closely to Israel policy. How close are we already, though? Do we need to get closer to Israel? I mean, is it possible to get any closer than we already are?
I don't know, man.
Should we get closer to Israel?
I think it's a way to hide the funding and send it through the Pentagon. So because of all the focus right now and all the different bills that are being passed and all that kind of stuff, they've kind of lost the narrative, like with bombing Lebanon and starting this war with Iran and then what happened in Gaza. I think that enough people are kind of waking up to this right now, and they're not happy about it. And there seems, I mean, we're going to be talking about the data centers later and AI, but that seems to also be kind of a part of this integration as well. And I personally think that it's sort of a way to force us into like sending boots on the ground to fight the wars for them, like we're doing now. I mean, we haven't gotten boots on the ground yet, although they have sent troops over there, I think. But I think that one of the things that I was really happy with was that Thomas Massey and members of Congress basically have ruled that this war with Iran is unconstitutional. And
unconstitutional.
Yeah, unconstitutional. So, like, if this war continues, basically, they can impeach Donald Trump for continuing on the war without congressional approval, because Congress.
What about God's covenant? Doesn't that override the Constitution? God's covenant with Israel.
Oh yeah,
Doesn't that
I don't
nullify our Constitution or not?
I just don't like the idea of like World War III for the second coming, and I don't like the way that there's been a lot of religious, like speaking in tongues, people that have surrounded him on top of. I mean, what really opened my eyes was a lot of these, surveillance tech people, these tech mafia people that have been surrounding him and what they've been building and how they're trying to push all this stuff. Yeah. Henry or Ozman? How about Ozman?
Well, I can offer some advice here on understanding. The Reathon already has a Reathon Israel division, and of course, there's some kind of people that are current in the news that are associated with that. We don't need to talk about that right now, but the nexus with Israel has been going on since the early 1900s. I think the Balfour Agreement, what was that? 1913, I think it was signed, or the
Balfour Declaration.
Yeah, Declaration. Thank you, Clutch. But anyway, it's just an extension of policy. The policy exists whether or not it's a Democrat or a Republican party. Has nothing to do with the policy. It's empire building, and it happens over time. It has nothing to do with politics. The minute people get over the politics and understand the policy and the process, then you'll be at peace with yourself, frankly.
Yeah, I guess the Balfour. So that was in 1917, November 2. Balfour Declaration.
It was,
So you're saying that they're doing empire building, and that's sort of overriding whatever.
The earliest discovery of oil, the entry of the U.S. corporations into the oil fields in the Middle East was 1909. I believe it was British Petroleum and Standard Oil. And they made those agreements. They knew the oil was there. They knew there was going to be wars. They didn't ever want to get stuck without any oil. So they set up all these mechanisms to explore the Middle East for those resources. It's also a strategic passageway for shipping. 20% of the traffic goes through the Suez Canal. That was controlled by Britain, and they finally lost control of it. They are ramping up their grasp on the Middle East. It's a Western agenda-driven policy, and it's not going to stop.
Yeah, I think you're right. It doesn't appear to be stopping for anything. Yeah.
If you want to talk, this is my personal, analysis, is that I believe if there's not some quick resolution to the Middle East conflict with Iran, it will be a 10-year war, and all the oil infrastructure in the Middle East will all be destroyed. Iranian, Saudi Arabian, United Arab Emirates, all these assets will be destroyed, and the United States will control the Canadian oil, the U.S. oil, the Mexican oil, and now the Venezuelan oil. And so it makes sense to destroy these resources.
So that would mean the U.S. becomes like the global oil hegemon again. So
it's resetting the petrodollar system, actually.
I guess that is a pretty solvent plan. I could see that.
Made with oil.
It's a long war, though. It's interesting that
it's already the war in the Ukraine's already gone on 9 years. It started in 2014 when the pro-Russian government was overthrown. But if you look at all the conflicts around around Russia and China, they're in a big crescent that goes around it. It stretches from Finland to the Ukraine to Albania now to the conflict in Syria, and then Iran, and then Pakistan is starting to heat up, and Taiwan is a potential target. They're all in a chain around the Asia and the Russian landmass.
Interesting. Yeah.
South Ozman, you got anything to add to this one?
Yeah, I think also you could also add that it's a way of bringing down or just crumbling pretty much the European countries, because a lot of people think that there's a big love thing going on with America and the allies of these other countries. But strategically, it's a way to cripple them and to make America stronger, in my opinion. And when Henry was mentioning before about the Balfour Declaration and that, I think you could even take it a bit further back to the Schofield Bible in the origins of the Zionist movement, and to create that state as well, just something else to add into there.
Schofield Bible. When was that? Let's Schofield.
It's around the same time that the Zionist movement started, which was like late 19th century.
It was pretty much what started. It was made to start the Zionist movement, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay, so that appeared in 1909 and was revised in 1917. 1917 was the same year as the Balfour Declaration. How curious.
So curious. I'm saying with the dots you can connect, they sort of coincide with each other, which was brought on now the major, in America alone, the party, I think, of Zionism, Christian Zionism, is up to about 10 million account at the moment. So that's quite a decent chunk of people that are involved in this support for Israel, so to speak.
Yeah. Crazy. Well, we can pivot to some other interesting news about there was the recent case of Melissa Casas, a Los Alamos National Laboratory employee. She went missing, kind of in a missing 411 style, but she has been found in New Mexico after she'd been missing for nearly a year. She's actually a good-looking girl if you look for her name. She was a 53-year-old admin assistant. She was showing up on X.com with some monologues about stuff, about high strangeness and what have you, and then kind of disappeared. But anyhow, so she'd been missing for nearly a year. A hiker discovered her remains in Carson National Forest, and authorities later confirmed her identity. A handgun was reportedly found nearby, but officials have not yet determined the cause or manner of death. The investigation is still ongoing. This case got a lot of attention because it became associated with a broader missing scientist story that had been circulating. So several people connected this to nuclear, aerospace, defense, or other sensitive research fields. Anyway, she's been found. It's been curious when they say remains. You wonder, like, what remains? Like, was that was it just a skeleton? Was it the body? Was there flesh on the bones? Was she eaten by wolves?
Are they going to make bread out of her remains?
If they make bread out of her, making sourdough Jack burgers at Jack in the Box out of her, yeah, what? Yeah. So, yeah. So she's been found. If you're
Yeah, well, we don't know
wondering,
too much
yeah.
about it. This could be grasping at straws, but I mean, it's interesting that a lot of these people died kind of mysteriously. We talked about Amy Eskridge not too long ago.
Oh, that's the one I was thinking of. Amy Eskridge.
Yeah, she was the one that was talking about how she was being hit with directed energy weapons and being harassed by some unknown agency.
I think I was conflating Melissa with Amy Eskridge.
Yeah, I mean, but she was acting really strangely. We don't know what's going on. There's also rumors that she may still be alive.
Yeah, so, Amy Eskridge was actually pretty... She was the good-looking girl I was thinking of. Okay. But Melissa
Yeah, I
also
was
not
thinking
that
the same thing, Doc. Yeah, I got them confused myself too.
Huh.
Well, there was a lot. There was like 14 scientists missing, maybe between 11 and 14, I think, that died strangely or just disappeared. Like the general that was missing, like they just recently revealed like some sort of a person that had some woman that had dinner with that general. I'm not sure, I'm forgetting his name right now. Maybe you can look that up, Clutch, real quick, so I don't look like an idiot. But he basically had some dinner supposedly with members of Space Force, and he was acting really odd, and he left his phone.
William Neil McCaseland.
Yes, yeah, that's the guy.
Neil
right
McCaseland, yeah.
Yeah, so, and he brought his gun, but he left his phone, he left everything, but I mean, it's weird that there's like this like UFO disclosure thing going on, and all the oddness that's going behind aliens.gov that we were actually the second one to report on that one, and then everyone else started to follow through afterwards. So we sometimes steer you right here at the Of Dark Matters podcast.
Whether it's sourdough bread or fucking aliens.gov,
Yeah. So it's not about aliens, everybody. No, it's about illegal aliens. I made that prediction. I said, what if it's just an analogy? I thought about this when they were, everyone was coming across the border with the open borders under the last presidency with Mr. Joe Biden. That it was code for the amount of immigrants coming up. But I mean, just more oddness, with this thing, and it's weird that they finally found her.
I want to say that everybody and everything is expendable. Even if you pick up a rock and there's a worm under it, if you reach down to pick that worm up and put it on your fish hook, the worm will retreat into its hole. So everything and everybody is expendable. And this is an example. You have to look at the reason why she would be expendable if you want to understand that crime.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, it seems like they've been talking about how there's, they've been wanting whistleblower protections for people that have had supposedly worked on this technology, like anti-gravity technology, and seen or been near aliens, the captivity, and all that kind of stuff. I'm still like very skeptical about all of this. I don't know, like, why now? Why is it now? Why is this seemingly corresponding with Steven Spielberg's new movie that's coming out? It's not Age of Disclosure, but what's the name of the Steven Spielberg? I'll look it up right now.
Age of Disclosure. Yeah.
Age of Disclosure, yeah. And does it feel? I mean, okay, check this out. This is another example, right? Back in California in the early 90s, the entire West Coast went dark, right? There was some sort of power grid failure. And around that same time that there was a power grid failure, there was a movie that starred Kyle MacLachlan about all the lights going off in the United States.
Coincidence. It's like
Isn't that weird? Just a little weird.
It's like a Schofield Bible and Balfour Declaration connection.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like,
Yeah,
it just kind of coincides. It's weird that, like, they put it into the collective consciousness, right?
Yeah.
Which is through the news. So for those that have had UFO experiences, like, what they're showing is, like, it's grainy photos, it's bullshit, it's video that you can't really determine what it is or what it's not. In fact, like, one of the videos that looked like they said it was a flying humanoid, and we talked about it, ended up being
I like flying humanoids.
well, but it turned out to be a stormtrooper balloon.
Well, it's also a flying humanoid. It's just a stormtrooper balloon. Well,
I just feel like I'm being like they're dry jerking me off, and I'm like not going to be able to come, and like
you just can't handle the dry.
yeah, and all I'm just seeing through their bullshit, like Elizondo and all these other motherfuckers that are like military industrial complex that are. They're giving us little nibbles of something that, like I said, to those who've experienced it, we don't need disclosure, like it's already happened for people like myself and others. But like, really, and like it's weird that it's. I mean, doesn't it? The whole thing just kind of feel a little Jewy to you? I mean, it's like Steven Spielberg. You know, I mean.
Yeah.
Why is there a UFO channel called the Zohar Gate?
Like, why the Zohar?
Why?
Yes,
That's
why?
what I'm saying. Like, it's a Zohar Gateway.
Yeah.
Why are they making, like, Lowen Bolbert was talking about portals recently, and the first thing she starts talking about. Well, yeah, but like, why is she going to the Old Testament? That seems to be the dog whistles, the Old Testament, and talking about Nephilim and. I mean, I'm not saying that couldn't be in the realm of possibility. Nothing would surprise me now, but the whole thing feels...
Old Testament.
I don't know. Old Testament-y. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm getting skeptical every day. The line between, being skeptical and full belief. I used to be a full-on believer. Like, no, I know what's going on. Right? Like, then I realized I don't know shit. Yeah.
Well, I know theories.
Yeah.
and I have some that I like and some that I don't like as much. But yeah. I mean, we all have theories, I guess.
Yeah.
Speaking of theories, it's theorized by Jimmy Dore. If you're familiar with Jimmy Dore, he's a YouTuber guy. Isn't he also like he's a comedian, right? He's like a opinion editorial comedian guy that goes on tour. Isn't he based in Las Vegas?
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles. Okay.
Yes.
Anyway, he was claiming on his show that Iran has a nuclear weapon already. And I don't know what to make of that. Because it also seems like current events seem like it will be more likely that Iran will eventually acquire a nuclear weapon. So there's like two questions here. Do they already have a nuclear weapon, or is it just looking like they're eventually going to get one? So on the first question, there's no public evidence, they say, that Iran possesses an operational nuclear weapon. However, Jimmy Dore insists that they must have one. Like, I heard it was like gifted to them.
That's what I've heard too, and I've also heard that there were definite like rumors during the start of the conflict when Biden was in the White House that Russia had given the Houthis and Iran hypersonic technology.
I'm sure Russia.
So, yeah.
And it's some hypersonic technology and drone technology.
There's also rumors that like they're saving the best for last. They're holding back right now because I mean they don't really need to launch a nuke. Most of their technology they've been using has been really low-grade technology. I mean the drones they make compared to the Patriot missiles we're firing over there, like they you know it doesn't they're just learning from our wars in the past where I mean we'll take a look at Vietnam, like the Viet Cong. I mean they were using rather in comparison to our army that was going in there, even the French maybe, like they were using stuff that was very primitive.
Yeah.
You know, and they've been planning
Effective,
this for a while.
but primitive.
Yeah. Yes.
Primitive but effective.
Can I just say one thing here, though? Is first of all, you have to analyze who Jimmy Dore is. We don't really know who he is, but
Jimmy Dore.
Once you get a rumor started that there's a nuclear war weapon on the other side in the theater, it sets the stage for either a false flag or a destructive use of that weapon, which is going to play out my theory about what the war is really about in the Middle East. Just the rumor that there's a nuclear war weapon on the other side points to my theory being maybe possibly correct.
That's interesting. So sometimes it seems like Jimmy Dore is a nice guy, and on other times he's like some kind of CIA asset who's like going to spread rumors that are going to start.
He would not be on this network if he didn't have some connection with him.
I think his facial features say pretty much his origins of who he is. If you really look at him, he's got funny lips, funny eyes, certain features there.
Well, let's check the Wikipedia real quick on Jimmy Dore just to see.
While you're doing that, I'll just add that people forget about Pakistan. Now, they were quite happy to help out Iran with any nuclear problems that they've got there. So there could be a little sleeping dog there. Just Pakistan, which is, well, not really sleeping because it's already openly pretty much said that if you need our hand in that sort of weaponry, just give us the nod. So, look over here at Iran while Pakistan's ready to push the trigger over there anyway. So, and I think North Korea had some shady things with them too in some sort of an alliance, Pakistan, North Korea and Iran. So there's another interesting player in the whole scene as well.
Well,
so Jimmy Dore,
me.
real quick, I guess he's a Catholic. So he's born into a Catholic family of Polish and Irish descent, raised in the blue-collar neighborhood of Vittum Park. I don't know where that sounds New Yorkish to me, or Illinois. I don't know. So he went to Catholic schools and for about 12 years of his life, and went to Illinois State University and was a forklift driver. Well, that's the problem. He was a forklift driver. So
yes. And not a schmelter.
I've always
not a schmelter. Yes.
But it does make you wonder, like the Catholic. I don't know. Like I kind of prefer Catholics over Protestants sometimes, but on the other hand, I don't know. It's still. I don't know. Don't know what to make of Catholics because I don't know. Catholics can be confusing politically, I think, because you're never quite sure which side they're really on.
I don't know.
You don't know.
But I know that they're not. They're not big on Zionism. That's for sure.
Well, yeah, but they're big on like sitting on the fence about it. Like sometimes they're like critical, but then they don't like do anything about it. So they're not big on Zionism, but they kind of also rubber stamp it. Not as liberally as like Protestants would, but they're not. They don't like. I don't know. They just don't say like anything like particularly. They don't like to ruffle feathers, I guess. More than they look. They like to look like they're about to ruffle some feathers, but they never do. I don't know. Yeah. So that's why they're confusing. I don't.
Yeah, I don't
do you know Father? What was his name? Father McLaughlin, or was that his name? Or no, Father Coughlin. Coughlin. He had a radio show back in the 50s and 60s he was a Catholic mover and shaker, and he was kind of shut down and accused of being a Nazi at some point. But he was he was becoming politically effective because he was taking a side. And it seems like once Catholics take a side, it gets like difficult. You know, it's like Kennedy. You know, it's like taking a side. He gets shot. You know.
Yeah. Well, we haven't seen all the evidence of that, although it seemed to lead right back to where we are today, doesn't it?
Wonder if Jimmy Dore will get shot for being Catholic. I don't know.
He might get promoted. He might get promoted.
He might get promoted, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't played out yet. But everybody being expendable, they can all either get promoted or shot.
Yeah, it's sort of like that. They can like promote you until you've no longer served their purposes.
Yeah.
Which I kind of feel is like what happened with both Michael Jackson and Prince. They were promoted until like they were no longer making enough
rumor
money.
Behind that, I mean, Rabbi Shmuley had something to do with Michael Jackson's death.
Oh, I'll bet.
They've kind of tied it to it, but see, like the whole idea that he was a pedophile wasn't real. That was all made up by the music industry, which he was trying to expose. And so later on, when he wouldn't, they sent Rabbi Shmuley to try to be his handler when he had all these questions, and then shortly thereafter he died of a drug overdose. And there's rumors that a lot of these, because from what I've heard, the mob owns the music industry and the entertainment industry.
Which mob? Okay. Not the Italian mob.
No, the Jewish mob. Yeah.
Right. No, here we go.
And they've set it up there. It's all there. And if you much like Charlie Kirk, if you go against the money, they're going to shut you up. You know, but some of these people had a lot of influence. Like, I mean, like Chris Cornell was rumored to be investigating like what's going on with
I heard about
sex
that.
trafficking. Linkin Park singer.
Yeah, heard
a
about
few
that
others,
too.
and they just disappeared. And they were part of that. There was like a lot of deaths that just happened around that time. It was early 2000s. They started getting rid of, I don't know. I mean, everything about it is suspicious, though.
I think that Sony owned most of his portfolio. Isn't that true?
Michael Jackson's portfolio?
I think so. And he wasn't earning money anymore. He was borrowing against his portfolio, and so he didn't have to pay taxes because he was. I read an article. That's why I say this. But he was borrowing against his portfolio so he could live basically tax-free, and he was consuming the asset of his portfolio, which Sony held, and they probably, maybe they got tired of loaning him money on it or something too. I mean, that's one theory.
Yeah, quite possibly. I know that.
No, if you look closely, I think a lot of people say Michael Jackson switched from black to white, but I think his final stage, he was trying to become Japanese.
That's a good
one. Just putting that out there. He was actually kind of still performing in Japan and like getting awards and stuff in Japan, like towards his end years. But just floating that out there. I don't know. Just a theory.
Just a theory.
So does Iran have a nuclear weapon, or do you think they're just going to eventually get one? I kind of think they're just going to eventually get one, and Jimmy Dore is just kind of
ahead of the curve.
Just kind of just saying shit to say shit.
Well, you had other people that were on the show that were like former CIA, and they were believing that there was a Pakistani whistleblower that had apparently spoken.
How do you feel about former CIA people being on these fucking talk shows? There's a former CIA dude who gets a lot of airtime on Twitter or X.com. I see him on like every other show, and he's
talking
just
about
like,
Bustamante?
Is that his name?
Yeah, he's got like a fro, and he looks like he's Hispanic or something. Or like
no, I don't think he's got a. Not like
he used to have a fro. He used to have long hair and a fro. Yeah.
Really? Is that the guy?
Bustamante.
Let me
Yeah, but there's
triple
like
check.
Kiriakou. There's a few others that make their rounds.
He's part black.
I heard in the Brotherhood of CIA, once CIA, always CIA. The only way you leave is in a coffin.
Yeah, no. So I'm not thinking of Bustamante. There's some other dude. So I know who you're talking about. But yeah, I think you're right. As far as there is no. It's like you can't quit heroin or meth either. Like you can't quit the CIA. You can't. You like the only one you leave is in a coffin. And but there's this one dude. He's on a talk show. He keeps saying he's on every other talk show. I'll find his name at some point, but I just feel like or if I'm listening to like George Norrie on Coast to Coast AM or something, and he'll have like some former CIA guy, and it's just like I just feel like, oh, former CIA, I have to take everything you say with a grain of salt, like because you don't have.
Because you're based on lies.
Yeah, they're just everything. Yeah, I think they just use that as like a clout. Like you got to take them seriously because of this identity, and it's like actually no, they're still shit talking, and you have to.
It's the best way to throw these people into the spotlight straight away. Look how many of these like YouTuber, this and that people that just all of a sudden come from nowhere. Like Barack Obama. Where the hell did he come from? And all of a sudden he's president. These sort of characters. And I'm ex-CIA, well, that's it. He's going to give us the inside? Yeah, right, that's it.
Yeah.
Him and all of the line of his family would be dead if he ever gave away anything like that,
It's like trust the science.
Yeah, right? Pretty much. Yeah.
And some of them aren't even doctors, right? All right, so without further ado, we got to take a little bit of a...
John Chris Kiriakou.
Yeah. Well, he was actually thrown in prison.
Yeah, he's still CIA. So just because he's been in prison doesn't mean he's like. It sort of means something, but it doesn't. Yeah, he's still. It's like tattooed all over him still. Like you can't wash that shit off once you're CIA. It's like no shower is long enough to get the CIA off of your skin.
We're going to have to take a little break. All right? So
Sounds
for
good.
those that are tuning into us, we're going to take an 8-minute break, and we'll be right back after this short interlude we have here. So enjoy, and we'll see you guys back for the second hour of Dark Matters Podcast.
We'll be right back after this short break. Now back to our scheduled program.
Yes, yes, yes. Welcome to the Of Dark Matters second hour. Yes. Yes. The audience loves that one. Yes, they do. Mustard. Here they go. I'll simmer down. So we are now back with the Of Dark Matters podcast, second hour. I'm MoJoE the Mad with Dr. Clutch, South Ozman, and Henry Pierce. Arr, sir, Dore walked the plank with Henry Pierce on the seven seas. Upon the antelope ship they sailed the seas, indeed.
Antelope ship?
Yes, the mighty
That's a ship?
antelope cruise.
The
Yes,
mighty
from the
antelope.
song Barrett's Privateer, sir. It's a sea shanty.
Mm.
Yes.
Good old sea shanties. Yes.
Sea shanties. So without further ado, why don't we open that sci-fi door? Get back into some weird news, world news. Yeah. All right. So what topic are we going into now, Dr. Clutch?
The Ebola outbreak of 2026. Ooh. Might have heard something from NPR or maybe Bloomberg or maybe CNN about this, about the outbreak. So it's been hitting the airwaves, but yeah. So this is happening in Central Africa right now, in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and it is spreading into Uganda. The outbreak was officially recognized in May of this year, and the WHO declared it a public health emergency of international concern. So, be concerned, damn it. So, this outbreak is caused by the Bundibugyo strain of Ebola, which is relatively rare. There was a more famous strain of Ebola from Zaire. But there's currently, the thing about this is there's no approved vaccine or specific antiviral treatment for the Bundibugyo Ebola. I like the Bundibugyo Ebola, just the syllable sound of that. That just begs like a MoJoE the Mad AI song on Suno. That sounds like the Bundibugyo about. So yeah. So the epicenter is in eastern Congo's Ituri province, but cases have been detected in Uganda due to the cross-border travel. I don't think any of us here at the Of Dark Matters podcast has ever been to the Congo or Uganda, and so looks like we're clean. So the one thing about this that is extra concern, if you really need more concern in your life, is and health officials are particularly concerned about this, is the outbreak may have been spreading for months before it was identified, which gave it a head start. So
Kind of sounds like COVID.
kind of like COVID,
Yeah,
but
a little bit.
I don't think it's not like it's not like a pandemic at the moment though. So it's just like a regional public health emergency, and people have been dying by the dozens. Yes.
What was that story? Excuse me.
Huh?
I was going to say, what was that story about some cat that got hijacked coming into the United States with some deactivated viruses from, I think, Africa, someplace?
He was a Catholic guy?
What'd you say?
He was Catholic? Who?
No, he was coming into the United States. He got stopped by the authorities, bringing.
Oh yeah, the NHI guy that was smuggling out the monkeypox.
Yeah, I mean these two stories are coming out at the same time.
They are. They are. And it's weird that there was rumors that Fort Detrick was involved. Fort Detrick was involved with the missing vials of the hantavirus. And then there's a cruise ship with the hantavirus. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Did you know that
Vincent Munster and Claude Quay Worked for
Monster.
NIH's Rocky Mountain Laboratories in Montana. They were stopped at Detroit Metro Airport after returning from the Republic of Congo.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. Not NHI, but NIH.
NIH, sorry.
Yeah.
NHI is non-human intelligence. So, I mean,
Right.
maybe there was a little bit of that going on too, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
I think I know what you think I do.
Wash your hands. That's what I think.
Lava sus manos. Yes.
Blowing a spaniel on me, huh?
Yes, hablo español.
Well, yeah. So Ebola. Yep. So
What are your guys' thoughts about Ebola? Is it
I
on
don't
its
think we're
way?
dying anytime soon.
No, I don't
from
think so either. No.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things that's like fear porn. You know?
Fear porn. Yes.
Well, what about those Rocky Mountain spotted ticks that they're finding all over?
Oh, that one's really interesting. That's really interesting.
Ticks.
Yeah, the Lone Star ticks, man. They're spreading all over the place. That's what we got here, and it just seems to kind of coincide with Bill Gates and his flavored goo that's supposed to be meat, non-meat.
Flavored goo meat. Yes. I like my flavored goo meat at least 5,000 years old, with a touch of sourdough bread made from the innards of yeah. I'm just next time I roll into Jack in the Box,
Sourdough.
Get some
Sourdough Jack
yeast
with
from
an
a
extra-
mummy's nutsack and some
yes,
flavored goo meat. Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
So Lone Star ticks and black-legged deer ticks, I guess. So Lone Star ticks, which is it sounds like it's Texas, I guess. So they're moving into New England and upper Midwest. And black-legged deer ticks continue expanding into new areas, bringing Lyme disease with them. And then there's an invasive Asian longhorn tick that's spreading in multiple states. And then Rocky Mountain spotted fever. Jesus. So, yeah. But Rocky Mountain ticks, you're referring to ticks that can carry Rocky Mountain spotted fever. Yeah, Rocky Mountain spotted fever is now more common outside the Rocky Mountains than inside the Rocky Mountains. Well, that's interesting.
Dr. Clutch, that one of those ticks is capable of transmitting a allergy to red meat.
Oh, let's find out which one it is.
Yeah,
It's alpha-gal. Alpha-gal syndrome.
There you go.
An allergy to red meat. Hold on, let's find out. Okay. That's the Lone Star tick.
Okay.
Which you would think a tick from Texas would all be about meat. Well, maybe the ticks want the meat from themselves so they get humans allergic to it. Right?
It's trying to clear the meat market.
Yeah. That would really piss me off if I couldn't eat red meat.
Yeah.
I'd be so mad. I'd be like, oh, God, I'd be pissed.
Just grind up the ticks and eat them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, that's what the plan is, right? She'll eat some bugs.
I don't know if I would eat ticks as revenge. I don't know. Huh. Yeah, so I guess how it works, a tick bites a mammal and picks up a sugar molecule called alpha-gal. Later, it bites a human and introduces alpha-gal into the body.
Oh.
You know, alpha females you really got to worry about, I always say. You got to look for the beta females. But in some people, the immune system, sorry, MoJoE, I couldn't resist. The immune system develops antibodies against the alpha-gal. After that, eating beef, pork, lamb, venison, and sometimes even dairy products can trigger an allergic reaction. Oh, Jesus.
When I look at our official intelligence, I don't see any intelligence.
I don't. Huh. Yeah. You know, I'm pretty safe from ticks because I don't go outside much. And when I do, it's kind of...
I'm going camping soon. So,
So don't. Yeah, stay away from ticks.
We have a different kind of tick up here. I don't think it's unless they're putting those, unless the rumors are true that they're leaving boxes near cattle and all that kind of stuff. Hard to say like what's really going on, other than what they tell us. Don't go outside. Be afraid. There's Ebola. There's alpha gal.
Alpha gal.
Ticks.
I heard if you found some yeast from a 5,000-year-old mummy, you could make suntan lotion with it, and also tick repellent. Yes.
Yes, you'd lose weight. Turn vegan. Yeah.
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 Yeah. It has to be from the Italian Alps, though.
Yes.
Might be hard to get. Huh. Yeah, ticks, oh, that's me. I'm not a fan of ticks. Not a fan. So I guess Peter Theil, he fled America. Did you hear about this?
Yeah, I heard about that the other day. It just seemed to coincide with the next article about Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump, too. Go ahead, do tell.
Well, yeah, so there's recent reports that Peter Thiel has been spending much more time in Argentina, but he hasn't actually fled. So he has reportedly bought a mansion in Buenos Aires and has enrolled his children in school there. So I guess that's just one way to say I hate America, by enrolling your children into schools in Buenos Aires. So some media outlets have characterized this as an exit America plan, or said he has fled to the U.S., according to Business Insider. So there is no public confirmation that he has permanently left the United States or renounced his residency. But I think we can read between the lines. He's basically hobnobbing with Nazis that also fled to Argentina. I mean, that's what else? What else can you determine? So,
yeah,
well,
it's just weird. You're setting up this mass surveillance centers, and with the data centers, and you're doing all this stuff with AI and the other tech overlords. And you've decided, I just don't want to pay taxes. I'm gonna move to Argentina.
Yeah, I guess he has interests in New Zealand, and people call this like his interest in these backup countries is like apocalypse insurance.
Plan B.
Plan B. I wonder if I can buy apocalypse insurance on the market, or maybe we should. This is a new business model for us, Mojo-san.
Yeah.
We can start an apocalypse insurance company. Call it the Dark Matters Insurance Corporation.
We don't just steer you wrong. We steer you right.
Yeah, I mean,
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone needs a little side hustle, and
Yeah.
I think I found our niche. We'll just set up a call center with some of these data centers and just get some AI chatbots to do the work for us. And
Call the insurance commissioner before you do it.
Yeah. Do you believe the second coming's coming? Do you have any insurance against nuclear warfare? Or,
we need to
this
write
is
an
our
ad for this.
Yeah.
We need a
We just
script.
won't steer you wrong. We'll steer you right with our insurance. Of Dark Matters Insurance.
We could
take
have
care of those.
afterlife insurance as well. So, like, you
Yes.
could have apocalypse insurance and afterlife insurance.
Wow. That sounds
Yeah.
like you're leading into the next article there. And we got South Ozman back. Crowd likes that one.
Oh, what's our
Yes.
next article?
Well, you're going to talk about the tablets, the Sumerian tablets.
Oh, yeah. This isn't really an article more than it's, so one of the things that we like to do on the Of Dark Matters podcast is we find, I guess, what you would call esoteric theories, or theories that keep you up at night or whatever. I woke up to this theory. I've heard about this in the background for a minute, but I haven't done a deep dive into it until I woke up to this because I left X.com streaming on my phone when I fell asleep, and I woke up to somebody talking about the refuse the light sort of a soul trap theory, and it's an interesting theory. It's related to near-death experiences. So if you're not familiar with near-death experiences, I can give you a quick overview of what they say is found in near-death experiences. If you'll just give me a second here. So, just 1 second. So the near-death experience, there's a lot of reports. So the standard NDE is like you leave the body, your soul leaves the body, there's a tunnel, there's a bright light, you might find deceased relatives or beings, there could be like a life review, there's a feeling of unconditional love, and a choice or command to return to the source. And so there's this soul trap theory that says that this bright light in your death or near-death experience, you're supposed to, apparently there's a question that some angels or entities or maybe the monad itself is going to ask you whether or not you wish to return home where you belong. And the recommended advice here is to opt out and say, like it's a TSA screening at the airport, and you say, I opt out. And so you refuse the light. But different things can happen to you if you refuse the light. There's a concept out there that is fairly solvent about where ghosts and demons and what have you come from. These are spirits that have refused the light, and they enter what is called the drift, or some say they might also wander the astral plane, but they are wandering spirits on Earth. And they say if you're a wandering spirit, you're kind of screwed unless you, if you want to get back into the system of getting back to the light. If you possess somebody and then that person dies or something, then you have a new opportunity to go back into the light, which should be pretty interesting. But they say the light is, so here's what got me about this theory is they're saying the light, a lot of people might say this is like a Christian thing, or maybe it's Jewish, or maybe even Muslim, or who knows what the light is, but this theory for the refuse the light, they say, no, this light was manufactured by the Anunnaki, which I haven't heard about the Anunnaki for quite a while, but these are Sumerian deities or angels of some type. So this is like pre-Abrahamic stuff before the Old Testament. So it's still like cradle of civilization stuff, like in the Iraq area. But they're saying that the light source was created by the Anunnaki, and it's a recycling plant for human consciousness. And they said it was created because prior to creating this light source pool of souls or collective consciousness, it used to be when humans died, that would be that. You would just die and your soul matter just kind of evaporates into nothingness. And they said, no, we can't have that happening. We need to start collecting the soul stuff, and putting it into some monad thing, and call it like a light source, and this becomes a recycling plant. And they say the trouble with this is, like, do you really want to be recycled for forever? Do you want your soul stuff to do? So, like, if you go into this recycling plant, so it's like a drop entering the ocean, which is kind of interesting because the drop entering the ocean is sort of what you find in like Hindu or Buddhist explanations as to what happens to you when you die, like what happens to your soul. You're just a drop that enters the larger ocean, and so you lose your identity, and you're just kind of a part of a mass greater than yourself. So you lose your identity, and then your stuff gets parted out like a recycling plant or junkyard of souls or whatnot, and then new soul stuff will be you're parted out to create new soul stuff for the future, and that's what happens when we die, theoretically, if you opt to be recycled. Now, if you don't want to be recycled, the other theory about refusing the light was that there's this initial light created by the Anunnaki, the recycling plant. They say this is like the false light, you don't want to go there, but if you look behind that light, there should be a light further away that you can opt into and say, no, I want the distant light for me, the one closer to Pluto, and you can sail into that, and your soul can journey into the multiverse that way. So I thought it was intriguing, so that we can voyage into the multiverse, we can be recycled, or we can refuse the light altogether, both lights, as it were, and enter the drift and become wandering souls. But I guess there's options after you die. And the thing that was intriguing is this light was created by the Anunnaki. And where are the Anunnaki now? I haven't seen one. Have you seen an Anunnaki? Anybody? Anybody at all? Mojo-san, have you seen an Anunnaki?
No. I've heard tales.
You've heard tales?
I'm sort of like it's one of those things that it was so far back it's hard to tell. And there's been so many different translations of it, of this. I mean, going to the UFO community and ancient aliens and that kind of stuff. The closest that I know of the idea of the Anunnaki comes from the god Anu, which was the sky god of Sumerian Babylonia. But I think the Anunnaki, you referred to them as angels, but they're actually according to the lore, they descended from the heavens and they helped create us as a slave race to mine gold. At least that was the Zachariah Sitchin story.
Zachariah Sitchin.
Yeah, but apparently he was off on his translations. In fact, there are a lot of people who were scholars who actually spoke in no cuneiform who say that what his translations were wrong. In fact, in the video that you were talking about, only the author of the video claims that they were Anunnaki, but they refer to them by other names in the video, as far as I know.
Interesting.
I know that South Ozman's got something to say about this one, so why don't we go to South Ozman?
Yeah.
We'll go to Henry after that. South Ozman.
Yeah, hi guys, can you hear me? Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It's just
go ahead.
dropping out. Yeah. The monad, apparently in the Gnostic text, is the actual source of everything, and these are lower creations, this realm. And in Astro sort of theology, it goes more into the planetary systems, the moon is actually that light source that people get fooled into reincarnating back here through the lower entities, which goes into Sophia, those sort of doctrines. And then as we go through the stages, like the Tibetan Book of the Dead and the Egyptian Book of the Dead, there's certain stages you go through where in the astrotheological world, it looks like those stages represent planetary systems. And I'm pretty sure it's Saturn, the Master of Time, is the last one that you go through. And what you're supposed to proclaim is that you are of monad, you are of source, you are the source itself. And that is the highest authority to get out of this realm of our density. So if we can imagine us as, we're just here for a journey, for instance, on this earth in a lower density, where our actual real being is a bit like we're a donut, and looking inside that donut, we get to choose what density we want to experience. And this is why we lose the connection of our higher selves as virtually an eternal spirit that is from monad. And where this earth and our surroundings, the planets and that, are all a construct of a demiurge, I guess you could call it. And that's what we're stuck in. And until we can realize our authority, that we are just here having an experience in a lower density, we will keep on getting stuck in this realm. And that's why it sort of says, build up your treasures in heaven. And And if you're coveting the things of this earth, well, of course, you're going to get more sucked to keep on coming back here, I gather.
Right. Yeah, they also said that's how you can enter the drift, too, if you covet earthly things.
Henry, what do you have to add to this?
Well, I'm probably going to throw a little cold water on the whole subject, but the tripartite form of government, which is a concept that Plato used 2,500 years ago, there's three levels of a society, which is the bottom is the producer class, and they're rewarded with hedonistic pleasures. The warrior class is the protector class that is rewarded with glory, and the elite class is taken from the warrior class and educated to be the thinkers of society. So if you're the thinker of society, you want to have these concepts and belief systems that everybody will be sidetracked with and will not be in direct competition with either the warrior class or the elite class. So I think a lot of these kind of notions that have show up, and they're totally unprovable, but they are superstitions that are meant to sidetrack humans and keep them compliant with their ruling class.
Yeah, that is the sort of, I think, the rhymes in a way with it, like how they say aliens created all the religions as like a distraction.
Yeah, come on.
I mean, that's similar. I mean, you're, as far as like the theory that like, yeah, it's like there's unprovable stuff, and as long as it, like, you can have these beliefs as long as it doesn't get in the way with the people running the show
and doing their work, harvesting the grain, and making the horseshoes, and fighting the wars, and for whatever reason,
right.
The war fighters, a lot of them are really steeped in religion. They think that they're going to go to heaven if they get killed on the battlefield. What better warrior to have than somebody who believes this? You got to open your mind to how it really works in real life.
Well, my concepts only come from my experiences, and to me, when they talk about the light, I'm just instantly, like, I think of there's different concepts of it. My own personal concept is you're just getting reborn. Like, there's no, the afterlife, I think, for wandering spirits, if it does exist, is something that is sort of parallel to our own. But I think you're just getting reborn and maybe going into another reality. I really don't think that you'd be reincarnated back here on this earth, right? If that is the case. But I don't know. Like, I really don't know, because I haven't died yet, so I don't have an experience. Although I think that I've had experiences with people that have passed, and for some reason they came to me either asleep or in some sort of manifestation, like with my father when he passed away. My actual father, because we had things unresolved, and I had some really strange experiences because of that. But still, to this day, I mean, I could say that I know, but I don't know, really. But, there were concepts that were in this video, and it was stuff that you had talked to on our previous podcast on Podbean, where you were talking about when you die, there were concepts of you might end up in the future, or you might end up in the past, or you might end up in the now. Right, or whatever that now may be, and its connections with other religions, seemed like it was sort of like the seed form, of those concepts that had been kind of passed on maybe orally until they decided to write written writing and then retranslated or mistranslated later on. With the same kind of concept. But I mean, there's plenty of concepts about the light. Like, one of them is in esoteric practices, you practice the meditation of the solar body, right? And the solar body meditation is where you pretty much it's kind of like reciting the Tibetan Book of the Dead, where you're supposed to be able. It's confusing, and you need to know the Tibetan Book of the Dead so that you can, when the priest is praying over you, that some part of your consciousness that is slowly dying will remember how to navigate the chaos that is whatever it is on the other side.
Right.
Like, once again, so the stuff is fascinating, but yeah, just really interesting how it starts to connect to these other doctrines and these other religions that kind of span through all of our existence. But I think Henry has
you know, my
something to
biggest
say
concern
there.
is if you like have all these like instructions you're supposed to remember before you die, and then you die, and then like let's say you're like you wake up after you're dead or whatever, and you're like, fuck, I forgot the instructions. Like, what do you do? Like, like, god damn it! Like, I wrote all this down. I thought I had it all memorized, or I missed step number 12, or I performed such and such ritual wrong. Like, yeah, that would suck. Like,
the best way I can describe it is like, and I don't even think I'm close to it, but like I've talked about my previous DMT experiences, right? Mm-hmm. And how it's described to a lot of people before they take it, that this is a lot like dying, right? But I don't think maybe it's not even close. But when you're in that realm and you've taken that psychedelic, like it almost feels like you're pure consciousness, and you kind of forget that you're a part of this world, right? So like when you're in that state, right, in that psychedelic state, like you almost, it takes some time to like of usage of it to be able to remember that, like, yeah, I'm going into the hyperspace, I'm going into this or whatever. But when you first start, like you don't even remember like what you came from before you inhaled the DMT, right? So at that point, maybe it's a lot like that. Maybe like what keeps us here grounded in this meat suit here in consciousness is completely forgotten at the time of death, unless you have an experience where you're allowed to die and you have that near-death experience where you're floating over your body and you go through that whole process that a lot of people have described. I don't know.
Quick survey here for everybody here. Would you like to remember anything about your current life timeline when you die? Like if you're reincarnated, would you want to have any memory of this current life, or would you want it all discharged?
I think there's always that coulda, woulda, shoulda with everybody. Like, I should have done this in the past.
Well, would you want any memory of this though? Like in your next life, would you want a memory of this life in your next life?
I don't think I would. In fact, if I was to die, I would just want to rest in peace, man. Personally, like.
How about you, Henry?
Well, your memory is the imprint that you had on the earth or the universe or whatever you created or changed on the on the earth or your environment is your memory, and it's a mechanical change to the matter that you affected. So it's like whoever made those pyramids, that's their memory. You know, you can go look at the marks on the rock or the holes that are drilled in the rock, and that is the memory of that person.
How about you, Oz? Would you like to remember anything about this life in your next life if you were reincarnated?
Yeah, I'd be fascinated to know all of any incarnations. Not necessarily saying that some of us could be first souls. I mean, if we all started from, or whatever, just as a creation, how can two people turn into a million different incarnations of a soul, so to speak? They must be a progressive thing of new people coming in to develop these sort of things. Interesting enough, and I am a pretty strong believer in reincarnation of sorts, is that in India has the highest population. Probably doesn't help the statistics, but yeah, they have a huge amount of stories of reincarnation, and it seems that people that have, or they seem to do remember it actually when you come here in the first few years of life, and then just sort of dissipates, and you forget where you did actually come from. I've had many stories. There was even, and I've found between the usual, at the latest, is usually between 15 to 30 years of a death to reincarnation in the stories. Some can be virtually immediate, like a child can be born, and he was actually the husband of the mother that gave birth to him, and things like that. So they can happen. In Japan, during the war, there was an island. I don't know the complete it was about several of these planes got shot down. You might know about this one, Doc. And then this island, they turned Japanese pretty much into their taste, their way of dress and everything. And some of them were explaining that they're virtually Japanese. And they say it was the souls of the Japanese that died on this island from being shot down, apparently. That was just another one. So it seems to be a worldwide thing, but India definitely has the biggest concentration of recalling their past lives. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be curious to learn about that island.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
We could find some information on it. That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Interesting.
Well, what's the next topic? You want to go into the Romanian drones, or?
Romanian drones. Was it drones in Romania? Well, hold on.
Well, the Ukraine apparently shot down or blew up a ship full of drones, but the drones were being used to attack
So drones were being used to target Romania?
No, Russians. And so Putin,
Romanian drones were targeting Russia.
Yes, that's what Ukraine has been using, because Ukraine has been using NATO like weaponry, and it's been coming from different places. And what they found was that some of these drones were coming from Romania, and there was some speculation for a minute there that Russia, I don't know, I'm not sure if Russia hit Romania or if it was Russia or Ukraine that hit the boat that was carrying them.
So, let's see. So they're Ukraine. Well, I guess Romania is a NATO member, and it borders Ukraine. And it's been dealing with drones from the war. Yeah, interesting. I don't know. I don't know. Where did we get that report from? The Romanian drones?
It would be on your text messages.
Yeah.
It's okay. I mean, we can.
Yeah,
if you have something open, we can just pass on that one.
Yeah, we can pass on that one.
Go to the next one.
The next one. Let's see. AI data center protests. Our favorite thing. So, AI data center protests. Would you attend a data center protest, MoJoE-san?
I'm not a big fan of AI. I do like it to animate.
We use it for our show quite a bit.
No, I do. I'm saying I like to animate my art and stuff like that. I like that kind of aspect of it because it would take me forever to animate stuff. But I really find it to be a way to take away creativity, man. I know as much as you love my music that I've done with AI and fucking with shit. Yeah. But there's something to be said about it, creating people that don't create anymore. I think that's what it is. It's the initial fun of it, but I think it's going to be used for surveillance. I think it's going to be used to enslave us. I really do.
According to the Harvard Gazette, they say the political coalitions that are part of these data center protests, movements, or whatever. It's environmentalists, rural conservatives, homeowners, various taxpayer groups, and some labor advocates. And they're all finding themselves on the same side. And they say probably the biggest issue is the electricity demand. So large AI facilities can require as much power as a small city. Residents worry that utilities will build new transmission lines, substations, and power plants, and then spread the costs across ordinary ratepayers. And we also saw one of our favorite BBLs in Congress, Big Booty Latina, AOC. Yes, she held up some data center water Did you see this drinking water that like
Yeah,
turned
that seems
data center
suspect.
brown?
Like,
Seems suspect.
I don't trust her that much. I think that it's.
That was just chocolate milk.
I think it was in a way. Yeah, she has to pretend like she cares, but really it's just.
You
to
don't think
show,
she
like,
cares?
It's controlled opposition, man. Like if Trump's for it, they're against it, right? And I mean it's quite similar to like what happened with Thomas Massey in Congress. It was bipartisan to make the war unconstitutional, so that later on they can, when they take over the midterms, they can attempt for impeachment, right? If he decides to continue on with the war with Iran. So it's another opposition. I mean, I'm president right now. If you look at the number of data centers that are here in the United States versus the ones in other countries, right? And this ties directly to what we were talking about that fusing of the military through the Pentagon and funding with the Israeli military as well.
Well, I have this idea of they're concerned about these data centers requiring a lot of water to keep them cool. But I was thinking, we have more than just water that we can use to cool data centers. We have plenty of Coca-Cola and Budweiser that could also be used.
One of the theories I heard a while ago too was that the reason why we're going back to the moon is for helium-3, and helium-3 can be used as a coolant to power quantum computers. So I'm assuming they're doing it like that. And then I saw a real estate agent from Washington talking about the effects of a data center that was built in a town by Microsoft. And so the town itself, like their homeowner bills went down, right? And they got an investment of that money coming up, but the rest of the state of Washington now has to pay for a rate increase based on this data center. So they're talking about like nuclear power now to build this stuff. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, that's really what it's about. But just shortly
helium
before these
3, they say that's used in cryogenics. It's not normal for cooling, but cryogenics is like freezing of bodies, I guess. Is that what helium?
I've heard it could be used to cool down quantum computers, and possibly I think they're looking at it for data centers too.
Yeah, so they're saying you could mine helium-3 from the moon, use it in advanced fusion reactors, generate enormous amounts of electricity, and power gigantic AI data centers. So all we got to do is get some commercial helium-3 mining on the moon.
That's what it sounds like, man.
I think we can pull this off, yeah. I mean, finally, a reason to get back to the moon. Helium-3, damn it. Doesn't Elon Musk know about this yet? Helium-3?
Probably.
Why don't they just build them in, like, icy places,
Say that?
Why don't they
why
just
don't they
build
just
these
put it
centers
in-
in cold places instead of in the middle of damn deserts and stuff like that? Like ice or Greenland, for instance, or Siberia. Why they're building them in some of the worst places from what I've seen.
Yeah, building it like where it's already hot. It's like may as well put it on the equator just to see. Let's make the equator hotter. Put a data center there. See how we do.
Kind of feels like they're manufacturing the climate change that they want so badly. The one that they had to backtrack.
You wonder about
from.
like microclimates, so they're having that city in Utah, and it's already hot, kind of in Utah, or it can get pretty hot in Utah, I guess. I guess there's snow in Utah too, but yeah.
Low snowfall right now. They have, just like over here in the West right now, we're going through a drought because of El Nino, and they're I mean, there was bills that were set up here in Washington State that were going to be passed that didn't get passed in Olympia, that were going to help out with some control with this kind of stuff. The only thing that I think they did pass was basically, man, I'm forgetting the shit. I did watch it though. I did watch it. It's coming from my memory. My MoJoE's memory's not so good sometimes. But but I think that they were trying to pass laws and they got shot down. And it would have basically what it would have done. This is where I'm getting to my point. Is it would have forced the data center companies to not pass the cost of the usage of energy and water on to the consumer. Yeah.
They do have some data centers in some cold areas. There's parts of Canada, Sweden, Finland, and Iceland, I guess, have some data centers. And Oregon has some around the Columbia River, Oregon and Washington. Yeah. So there's some, I guess they're just going to kind of put them anywhere they can. I don't know. But they need enormous internet connectivity.
Yep.
So they need, I guess it's a lot of fiber optic connectivity that they need. So they got to, so if you move it too far away from connectivity, that could be difficult because you got to get it connected. I don't know how much, like if you can just run one massive cable out of a data center from the North Pole. I don't know if that if that like really works. But they do suggest putting it in Alaska. They say that the problem with Alaska is it doesn't have electrical grids or fiber infrastructure. So
a lot of this stuff was set up during the dot-com burst too. They were just putting up fiber optic cable all over the place, and then some of these tech firms were buying it up on pennies on the dollar after it crashed. So like a lot of that's been set up. Like they started doing it out here. There's a lot of fiber optic cabling and fiber. Actually, that's what we're broadcasting through is through a fiber optic a network right now through my computer. So
sweet.
Yeah, sweet. Henry, do you got anything to add about this?
Well, what I would do is I would definitely make the cost of AI borne by the corporations that are building the units. You know, it's people like Peter Theil. That's what his business is. You know, bringing that data to the federal government. You know, and those costs have to be. Well, you can't have the federal government paying because then I guess we pay it, right? But anyway, those corporations are going to have to pay their own costs, build their own nuclear power plants, and then make sure that the costs are borne by the users of the AI. I want to say that I had contact with a vice president of a Vista Energy Corporation, and he said in the 1980s that your utility bill is going to be like a mortgage in the future. And the energy is going to go through the roof, just through the roof.
Sometimes it does feel like my, I had to download a utility bill for identification purposes or whatever. And I logged into sdgne.com and you can look at your payment history. And that's like really heartbreaking to see all the money I've been giving SDG&E over the years. Like it's like if you really want to feel depressed immediately, just look at your.
Well, it's what led me to move here to Eastern Washington was the bills.
Pay less energy.
Well, they turned off the San Onofre power plant. After that, we had rolling blackouts, and my bills for the summer just running the air conditioner. And in Southern California, you have to have an air conditioner like all the time. And it was like $700, $800 a month. Like it was getting ridiculous, and that was doing it during like non-peak hours. I was getting huge bills, and so I moved up here thinking, okay, well I'm surrounded in a desert, and it's all of the green that I'm seeing is artificial. Like I need to go to a place with resources, and this was my family moved up here, so I decided to move up here. But yeah, man, the bills were insane. They were gouging us with bills, and then it wouldn't stay on half the time because it was shortly after the earthquake that happened in Japan that took out Fukushima, and people were really, really afraid of nuclear power after that because of what was going on there and what they're still dealing with now. It had mostly to do with environmental concerns and that kind of stuff, and that it wasn't clean energy, and then shortly thereafter, Europe started like destroying their coal mines and dismantling their nuclear power plants, and when really it's probably the cleanest we have. We just don't know how to deal with the byproduct of nuclear energy afterwards. I mean, we just store it on some island out in the Pacific. Who knows? I don't know, but there are talks of micro nuclear power plants being built.
Micro nuclear power plants?
Yeah, they've been talking about it. It's been kind of hitting the news as of recently.
Like you can have one on your property? Like how small is a micro?
I don't know. I don't know how far this has gone in concept as it has been in modern times, because we're used to these huge power plants. So there's a possibility that they've probably developed something like that. But at the same time, I mean,
it's a nuclear microreactor,
yeah,
compact transportable fission system generating up to 20 megawatts of electricity or up to 50 megawatts of thermal energy. So these are factory built and often designed with meltdown proof TRISO fuel that can power remote communities, military bases, or data centers for years without refueling.
That's the talk. And then they will use one of the things that's being proposed right now is that some of this nuclear energy that they're using to power these data centers is going to be passed on to everyone else, right? Like the surrounding towns or cities or wherever they're going to put this stuff in.
Yeah. I think they should just get on the nuclear microreactor train. And yeah, they say it's 100 to 1,000 times smaller than conventional nuclear reactors. That's pretty small.
Yeah.
And it's designed to be hauled on a semi-trailer by ship or rail, easily installed on site in weeks, can run autonomously off-grid or something. Why don't I own one of these already?
Well, they already have like stuff that can be powered by water. They already have cold fusion. They already have all these things.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's free energy, but I believe they have 0 point energy. They have this. I think that what we're seeing when it comes to like UFOs and all this kind of shit is more than likely it's our shit. And then we have to think about how long have they had AI? Really? Like they tell us that this is new and it just came out, but I mean when they were declaring it, I'm sure they've already designed it. We really don't know. We know that the military is 30 to 50 years ahead of us.
That's what they say.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
So, I mean, hence the budget on top of giving money to foreign nations and laundering money. I mean, some of this military budget or whatever they're doing is going towards some of this stuff, I think. I really do. That's my the more I go into, I'm not saying I don't believe. I'm a believer in certain things only from my own experience, but from what we're seeing now, like let's take for instance the Tic Tac UFO, right? That was off the coast of San Diego, which they were claiming was some sort of alien UFO. To me, there's been a lot of theory to believe that was Raytheon or Lockheed Martin. That would make more sense, that you're testing something to see what it does psychologically to the military ships that are out there. But you're also testing something to show off, too, to go, look.
You're just going to go right up against Richard Dolan that way? You're just going to... like, that's us, Dolan.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry to break it to people right here, but I mean, you have to think a little critical about this shit. It can't all be if it's too good to be true, more than likely it is. And the more plausible explanation would be that they've created a hypersonic drone. I mean, this thing came out at the same time that it was rumored that China and Russia had stolen hypersonic technology from us, right? And that we were at a weak point. And there's this old saying from Sun Tzu, which is you look weak when you are strong and you look strong when you are weak, right? And it would make sense to me that this is some sort of hypersonic drone or some sort of advanced drone. And that would go the same with like micro fusion reactors. I mean, Why are we building one on the moon, for instance? Like, remember when
Oh,
they
we
were
are?
trying to build Congress?
Is that
Yeah, they were
happening?
trying to pass a law where they would fund because there's this race right now because of like exploration of the moon and China going up there with
another moon race?
rovers and that kind of stuff. That you can look it up. They wanted to propose money so that we would buy. More than likely, they already have one. Right?
A moon base? China's got a moon base?
We would probably have one. Why wouldn't Why wouldn't there be like some sort of secret space program where the easiest way for us to convince everybody that it's not ours and that we don't have anything, but to say that it's extraterrestrials that are on the moon?
I don't know. We'll have to delve into the moon.
Well, let's take a look at
conspiracy for
one more
the
thing,
next
okay?
show. Yeah.
Okay, when you think about underwater bases and deep underground bases, what's the first thing that comes up? You think aliens, right? Well, Catherine Austin Fitts, like if you look at her interview, she was saying that money was being diverted. Catherine Austin Fitts, she used to work for the Bush administration, and she was tracing funds to where they were going. And she was saying that they were building this stuff, and a lot of the time when you think about an alien base, people are going, there's an underwater alien base. Yeah, she was just talking about it.
Hold on. Let me Google this woman's name.
It's a lot easier to say it's aliens building underwater bases.
It is.
Like underground bases. Well, I think it's us, and it's a lot easier as a cover to say it's aliens or Atlanteans. She has a website called
Solari.com.
Always check it out.
Actionable intelligence for a free and inspired life. Sounds slightly new age. Catherine Austin Fitts, an American investment banker, yes, former public official, and served as managing director of Dillon, Reed and Company during the presidency of George H.W. Bush. As Secretary of Housing and Urban Development for Housing. She's widely written and commented on the subject of public spending and has alleged several large-scale instances of government fraud. And you're saying, what is she saying here? It's not aliens, so...
Well, she's basically saying that, like, the elites are attempting to build off-world like civilization or like a secret space program, or at least being able to prepare for the contingency plan of some sort of major disaster, and the shadow government by having all of this stuff underground or underwater. Okay, and it seems very like sci-fi, but I think that it seems like sort of a misdirection in some points. I think that I wouldn't put it past these people. But it starts to get really weird. It starts to go into like, they start talking about a base on Mars, right? And that we're working with aliens. Remember that came up? That was old news. What if, like I said, what if it's not? What if all of this stuff and all of this like look over here distraction and the grainy photos and all that stuff? What if it's just military technology that we've been doing? And you can call it an alien reproduction vehicle, but what if it's not? What if it's not? What if it's just man-made stuff? I mean, there's a conspiracy about the Glock, right? And that's the
Glock.
That's the Nazi anti-gravity.
Oh, that. Yeah.
Okay, and that it was built during World War II. That they had created some sort of anti-gravity craft.
And we're using red mercury as the main content to do that.
Yeah.
Red mercury and the Glock.
Yeah, I mean the concepts of anti-gravity are not
Glockenspiel.
If you listen to some of these people that were involved with trying to discover it and trying to develop it, including Emmy Eskridge, she said that it's been discovered 4 times. But they silence the people when they start to make these discoveries. It goes against the narrative.
The alchemy of white gold is another interesting aspect of disappearing and coming back through some sort of quantum porthole as well, that they've done studies on. That's an interesting rabbit hole as well.
Yeah.
Alchemy of white gold? What is that?
Yeah, turning gold into white powder. Apparently, that can go way back to Sumer and Chad or Egypt. Kem, sorry. Yeah. Place of Kem. That's what they were doing with this gold. Was more anatomic gold, I think is the name of it, actually. That's interesting. Maybe there's a combination between anatomic gold and red mercury. There might be a connection there. So this is another thing. And they say that in the Tartarian sort of dynasties and that those round shapes on top of these buildings and in some of the earlier lighthouses, they were still using red mercury at the time as well for energy.
Henry, you got anything to add?
I think it's just a little esoteric. It's like it's distraction. The conversation is a little distraction from the practical. It's a provable. I tend to be more of a realist, and you can predict the future by looking backwards and seeing what the policy was, and then you could just mirror that trajectory and find out where you're going.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Seems reasonable. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's that Catherine Fitz is. I think what she was part of the system, and she's an agent of change because she's identifying the obvious problems that we have with our system, and everybody knows that it's going to change at some point, and you want to make sure that part of the population is aware that it's going to change so that they could be the enforcer class, like Plato's tripartite system. They already know what to expect and what they're going to be asked to do. And the people are coming around. They're tired of the homeless industrial complex. They're, to some extent, tired of the military industrial complex and the drug treatment industrial complex and the allowing drugs into the United States, as an offsetting factor for a trade deficit with China. All those things are being identified, and we're going to get to a tipping point. And Catherine Austin Fitz, I think is her name, she's going to be kind of the pivot point, the tipping point, the Zeitgeist change.
Okay. Well,
It's rational. I'll buy that.
Okay. For all those that are listening in right now, we're going to go ahead and do some plugs. This is our plug time here where we shamelessly plug ourselves and talk about all the stuff we're doing, where to find us, what you'd like to let everybody know or be aware of, or even shout out to different things. And I'm going to go ahead and play our plug music right now, and I'll give it to Dr. Clutch. Go ahead and plug away, sir.
All right. I'll start with pineapple juice. I just bought some, and it's delicious because I was feeling mighty dehydrated. Pineapple juice. What else did I plug? I'm going to plug a band called Infected Rain. They are from Moldova, which is Eastern Europe. I saw them Thursday night. It was badass. If you like cute chicks and metal music, it's worth checking out. What else would I like to plug? If you'd like to find my Substack, I am at drclutch.substack.com. Also like to plug MoJoE the Mad's Suno.com AI music channel with such great hits as He's Taking Razor Blade. What do you got? Ozman.
Okay.
I'll get around a bit here and there. My title of my show is Strange Days with a Z, so you can pretty much do a search for that on most platforms. Rumble, I'm usually here and there. Podbeam, I've saved all of my, even though I can't go live no more. On Podbeam, you can find me 2,000 shows and audio books, not just me doing my own little rants and stuff. And I'm currently getting involved with a place called Clubhouse. You'll find it's got like a yellow hand if you come across it, and you can search me up on there as well. And hopefully I can get onto here, but we've got some interesting restrictions from Australia, so I'm having a little bit of problem to sign up on StreamYard.
You're going to need a VPN, sir. VPN.
Yeah.
All right, Henry Pierce, you got anything you'd like to plug?
Well, I'd like to plug Stoicism as a a guidance policy for every human being on this planet, not to identify with adversity, to identify with your own personal power and empower yourself by understanding your environment.
All right. Well,
sounds good.
Lastly, there's me. I'm MoJoE the Mad. You can find me everywhere. But first, I'd like to plug everyone that came here and joined us today. I'd like to plug Henry Pierce, South Ozman, Dr. Clutch, this show, the Of Dark Matters podcast. We just won't steer you wrong. We'll steer you right. I'd like to plug Of Dark Matters Apocalyptic Insurance, who's going to be our new venture.
Yes.
Not only do we deal with biblical Armageddon, but we also deal with Terminators. We deal with aliens. We deal with the Orville Redenbacher apocalypse. Yeah, that's coming.
That's one they're not talking about enough.
That's one they're not talking about. That conspiracy. Yeah. I'd like to, you can find me on Substack under MoJoE the Mad. You can find me under our previous shows on Spotify and all sorts of locations under Of Dark Matters podcast. We're still there. In fact, I just posted a couple of podcasts that were my favorites, which was the pirate show we did, and of course where I played an 18th century nobleman and I was solo without Clutch. Yes, that is one of my favorite, probably one of the hardest shows I ever did. You can find me on SoundCloud, where you can find my music under MoJoE the Mad and the Drama Llama Ding Dongs, which also can be found on YouTube. Maybe we can get the former members of my band on this show for an interview or reunion. Maybe that's in the works. Who knows? We'll see what's going on with that. You can also find it under SoundCloud, Please Stand By, which was the podcast that became this podcast, which was hosted by Dr. Clutch, and I was co-host. You'll find snippets also there of what was left of my previous podcast before that, which was Two in the Same Boat. You can find some skits and stuff we did there, some ads I've done, and let's see here. I want to promote that everyone has a good week. I really do. I want you to have a good week. Remember, just like Henry said, stoicism's a good thing, but it's also part of critical thought. It's okay to not take everything at face value and to dissect it. You can be a believer in certain things and balance it out with a good, healthy dose of skepticism, but also stoicism. Because in a world that's trying to drive you insane and is trying to make you an emotional basket case, you're going to have to use a little bit of that stoicism to get through things, right?
For real.
Because once you lose your shit, you lose your power.
Yeah.
And your power lays within. So just remember that. This was a great show. This was a great panel. It's not about agreeing with us. It's about having a good conversation. And I think this was a great conversation. And with people that this was fantastic. So next week, I believe we're going to have some good shows, some interviews coming up. The next one's going to be on the 11th of June. And let's take a look at what's coming up here real quick. Let's see here. Well, you know what? We'll advertise that. I'm not going to waste our time. We're going a little over.
Isn't the 11th on a Thursday? Don't you mean the 13th?
The 13th, yes, the 13th.
Yeah.
The 13th. Sorry, I'm getting confused. It's getting towards the end. I'm getting a little hungry, a little hangry there.
Hey.
So without further, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I can't believe what a great experience it was. I hope this show takes off and you can expand it to encompass every subject on the face of the earth, like on this level.
Yeah, that's what I want. That's the goal, because we're not just about world news. We're about conspiracy, the occult, and the paranormal too.
Paranormal.
And,
God bless.
We got to talk about it all, man. We got to talk about it all. It's got to be, watch the Twilight Zone if you guys want to know about warnings and stuff. Watch the Obsolete Man. I want to say that's one of my favorite Twilight Zone episodes. It's about a librarian who is a part of an authoritarian government, and he kind of turns the tables, and it's way worth it.
Episode 29 of season 2, the Obsolete Man. Yeah.
The Obsolete Man. Watch that one. That will tell you a little bit about what's going on in the mind virus that's taken over. Because if the left and the right were to know who is really pulling the strings, who is really making every sub-faction and making us all hate each other, I think we'd find that we have a lot more in common than we thought. So let's just see if we can spread it, because the real revolution isn't about taking a side. That's what the elites want us to do. It's about being aware and figuring it out and knowing like what's truth, seeking truth. And we will be here to seek truth for you every Saturday as long as we are on the air. We're not censored. And we're back on Facebook. Yes, we're back on Facebook. Woo! My goal is, if there's people that are listening in, go follow my Substack. If I can get 10 people, we can have another place where we can go to. Okay? If we can find more followers, like, share, subscribe, tell all your friends. If you like the show, let people know about us. Because if we can get 1,000 followers, we might be able to leave this platform and go to another one. Or still use this one. I don't know. But you'll never see ads on our show. We're not going to shamelessly put ads. We might promote stuff like we're doing right now, but we're never going to have ads. So we'll just have to get used to that. It may be harder for us to monetize later on, but we want to make sure that we have quality for a show and non-interruptions right when we're talking. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and end this show. You all have yourself a wonderful week. Good night.
Bye.
Good night.
All of us here at the Of Dark Matters podcast would like to thank all of our listeners that tune in to us every Saturday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 6 p.m. Eastern. Thank you for listening and good night. This has been a production of MoJoE Mojito Production. Production.